Now, I have the pleasure of introducing today's moderator. Bob Bisnick grew up here on Cape Ann and has been practicing as an attorney on Cape Ann for over 15 years. He's the Rockport Town Moderator, a past president of the Rockport Rotary Club, and a member of the Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Council. In 2013, Lieutenant Colonel Bisnick retired from the military after having served for 28 years active in reserve as an Air Force and Navy Judge Advocate General. I'd like to introduce Bob Bisnick, who will introduce the two candidates and our three media panelists. Come on up, Bob.
And we've introduced just about everybody in the room, so if you haven't been introduced today and you would like to be, let me know and we will introduce you. And there is one chamber event that is not going to be forthcoming, one that I would like to see, and it's Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, on how to run an effective public relations campaign. Good morning. If you don't have a program, I'm going to take a few minutes and introduce the candidates and then talk about the ground rules, and we will get started. Ann-Margaret Ferrante, the Democratic nominee for state representative for the 5th Essex District, was first elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives in 2008 and is currently serving in her third term. She's the vice chairperson of the Joint Committee on Economic Development and Emerging Technologies, as well as a member of the Joint Committee on Environmental, Natural Resources and Agriculture, and the Joint Committee on State Administration and Oversight. They have joint committees in Colorado also, but they're different. In 2013, she was appointed co-chair of the Tech Hub Caucus. Ms. Ferrante is a graduate of Gloucester High School, Tufts University, and Suffolk Law School. After graduating from law school, she practiced law in Gloucester, specializing in fisheries issues. She is a lifelong resident of Gloucester and currently resides with her family on Proctor Street. Mike Boucher, the Republican nominee for state representative, is a graduate of Rockport High School and Northeastern University. He was employed at Varian and served 2 3-year terms on the Rockport Board of Selectmen as the board's chairman of Budget and Finance. He is currently employed at Morgan Stanley as a vice president and financial advisor. He is a lifelong resident on Cape Ann and has 4 children and 7 grandchildren. He and his wife Janine currently reside at Twin Light Circle in Rockport. And as I have disclosed through the chamber to the candidates, of course I've had different professional relationships with, mostly with Ann-Margaret, but I know Mike, and our kids have hung together and are friends, and both committees have cleared me to take this position today. Our panelists, we have Paul Clark. He is the senior editor for the Manchester Cricket, a weekly newspaper covering the towns of Essex and Manchester by the sea. Ray Lamont, with over 30 years as a journalist in 4 states, from sports writer to reporter to editor, has been the editor of the Gloucester Daily Times since 2008. He is a past president of the New England Society of Newspaper Editors, and in October he will host and moderate the Gloucester Times debates, including one between the candidates in today's debate. Greg Phipps was recently named editor of the Cape Ann Beacon. Previously, he worked as a correspondent covering public school news and sports, and as a sports editor in North Carolina. Welcome. And Gail McCarthy is the timekeeper today, and she is the arts and entertainment writer for the Gloucester Daily Times. And, of course, her husband being the soon-to-retire chief of police in Rockport, she has brought with her a taser, and so she will, when she says to the candidates to stop, you really have to stop. The ground rules. As you may recall from a previous debate that I worked with Mr. Tise and Fishman, it was a quite hotly debated campaign, and so I had to warn the crowd to be civil and polite and remind the candidates that we had students, as we do today, sprinkled in the room, and so not use swear words, not attack one another. We even had to bring in metal detectors, and that was just for the candidates. But We don't have those concerns today, and so I would remind you, though, to refrain from catcalls and from loud noises to indicate your approval or disapproval to any one answer. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to meet Vermin Supreme, who, as many of you know, is a candidate for president, and I invited him today to this debate, but he was buying ponies for the presidential debate, and he couldn't come. All right, here are the ground rules on the questions. We have chosen which candidate's going to go first, but we have 11 questions, and we will, of course, have one candidate answer first. They'll have up to 2 minutes to answer the question, and then the other candidate will also have 2 minutes, and then the first candidate will have a minute as a rebuttal or a follow-up, and then finally the other candidate will also have a minute. So each question could take up to 6 minutes. And we did a coin flip for which candidate gets to choose the order of the closing statement. The closing statement will also be 2 minutes. And I believe Ann-Margaret's going to go first and Mike is going to go last to close it up. Before we do the closing statements, I'm going to be stopped, and Gail's going to stop me, make sure we have enough time for those closing statements, and we'll take a brief break to make sure that KBN TV, who is televising this, has had the opportunity to change their tapes and get ready to go. So, without any further ado, we're going to start with the questions. And the first question is going to be asked first to Ann-Margaret, and it's going to be Paul Clark.
Good morning. Representative Ferrante, as a regional business organization, the Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce has encouraged the 4 communities of Cape Ann to seek common solutions to shared problems and to work together on issues that cross municipal lines. What is your view of such cooperation, and in your opinion, what areas are most appropriate for regional initiatives among the communities of the 5th Essex District?
Thank you, Paul. I am a big supporter of regionalization when we can especially save on costs. I've supported education initiatives, public safety initiatives that make a priority of regionalization and coming together. Ways in which I see that we could all come together as one district on Cape Ann to save money is definitely education and purchasing. The school districts could combine the volume in which they purchase and as a result lower their costs. Public safety, we start to see this already with municipal aid contracts in terms of when there's a fire on the Lanesville border, you see Rockport come in. When there's an emergency over in Magnolia, you see Manchester come in, and vice versa. That's another area in which we could regionalize. And one of the other areas where I've stepped forward and tried to encourage it is each year I've sponsored an amendment to the budget with cultural districts. So we're at the point now where Gloucester has 2 cultural districts, Rockport has a cultural district, and Essex has a cultural district. And I've am working toward having monies made available so that we can cross-promote and promote together and promote our area as one region. So whether it's soliciting businesses to come here and sharing in infrastructure costs, whether it's schools working together to buy in bulk, in the city departments working together to buy in bulk, whether it's shared public safety resources, those are all areas that I believe that the communities can work together and lower their costs.
Was this on? Okay. Yeah, thank you for the question, Paul. I agree with what Ann-Margaret said. Right now, one of the things we should do is recognize that there's quite a bit of cooperation already going on. As you mentioned, the Chamber. When I was on the Board of Selectmen, we always had meetings where the members of the City Council, the Rockport Board of Selectmen, Essex, Manchester, would get together with the Chamber and get a better understanding of some of the issues that are facing the small business community. In addition to that, our schools do work together. You may know that Rockport shares a hockey team with both Manchester, Essex, and Ipswich. Gloucester, many of the students, many choice students come to Rockport and vice versa. Just the other day I was at the Gloucester High School football game. I saw one of my son's former coaches. I asked him, what are you doing here? He says, well, my son's playing for Gloucester. He choiced into Gloucester. We've had over, I believe it's over 200 choice students come from Gloucester to Rockport and work together. In fact, the running back who holds the record at Gloucester High football is from Rockport. So there's a lot of things that we have done together in sports. There's things that we try to do as well through the chamber. But also, one thing, when I was back on the Board of Selectmen, I don't know if this is still going on, the Rockport Board of Selectmen would hold regular meetings with the Gloucester City Council on things we could work together on. One of the things we worked very closely on was putting in sewer lines, water in Long Beach and Rockport, coming to Gloucester, and now that has helped on that particular issue there. So I think any of these things that we can work together on are very important, and I would support things such as joint purchasing agreements and so forth. If there's any way we can work together on controlling the cost of health care, I would support that. So yeah, any of that stuff I'm in favor of.
Okay, we move on to question 2 by Ray Lamont.
Thanks, Bob. In addition to all the candidates, we have a number of state referendum questions on the ballot in November as well. Can you please tell us how you each plan to vote and why on the following ballot questions? First, the proposed elimination of the gas tax indexing. Second, expanding the law on beverage container deposits. And third, the proposed repeal of the licensing of casinos in Massachusetts.
And I'm first, correct? Yep. Okay, thank you, Ray. So the first question is gas tax indexing. So let's just make that clear. A lot of people got confused about this. Last year, the legislature voted to increase the gas tax, but they also voted to index the gas tax, meaning it was indexed to inflation and would go up every single year into infinity, tied to inflation. Rep. Ferrante voted in favor of that. I would not have done that had I been in the legislature. I think that's a very undemocratic way to implement a tax like that, any sort of tax. And on that particular one, we've collected signatures. In fact, I was involved in collecting signatures. We collected first over 10,000 signatures. We went before the House committee that reviewed that. They said, no, you know what, we had a hearing and we don't think you deserve to be on the ballot. So we were required to collect an additional 11,000 signatures. We collected over 20,000 signatures and got it on the ballot. And so now the question on the ballot, number one, is to eliminate the indexing of the gas tax. And so I would vote yes, we should eliminate the indexing of the gas tax. I think that's very undemocratic, and I was very disappointed to see that Rep. Ferrante voted for that. Number two was the question about the bottle bill. In the bottle bill, even though I'm a big environmentalist, I believe I love trees and the environment, and I support everything that I can with the environment and cleaning up. In fact, Rockport had one of the highest recycling rates. We won an award early on, many years ago, when I was on the Board of Selectmen for recycling. However, in that question, number two, is a section in there which requires a meeting of the I think it's the DPA, I might be wrong about that, where they require them to adjust the bottle charge upward every few years. So for that reason, I would vote no.
Is it okay?
We'll have a follow-up 1 minute. If you want to take that minute and address the third question, you can do that, Mike.
Third and fourth, sure.
Okay. You want to do that now, Mike?
I can do that now. So the third question on the casino law. The casino law, I would vote, the question is, if you vote yes, would be to not allow casinos in Massachusetts. So I would vote no on that, because I believe from everything I've been able to see, you're going to get a number of construction jobs. We just got a decision the other day. We know where the closest to us on the North Shore will be in Everett. A number of construction jobs. In addition to that, there will be a number of permanent full-time jobs. I think that's good for the economy when we sit in an economy which is in badly need of employment. And the last question is on the guarantee for sick time. And on that, I would also vote no. And the reason I would vote no on that is right now, our economy is struggling. Even though the unemployment rate, many know this, the unemployment rate shows that it's been going down. If you look at the true unemployment rate, which is U6, the unemployment rate really is up around 12%, not around 6%. So I think that's something we need to definitely have more jobs. I'm in favor of that, and I think if we implement, I'm sorry, I know I got the stop, but if we implement that, that is going to hurt business, and so therefore I would be opposed to that.
The taser is warming up.
Yes, I can